And the other one's October 24th, which is a freaking Saturday.
The 24th?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like...
Well, that's when mine is. That's when my one...
Oh, I booked it! That's when I booked it!
What time?
At 1:15.
Me too!
Oh my god! Girl. I was going back and forth trying to figure out what day.
Wait, that's so funny.
But, of course. Whenever you're ready. Okay.
Take it the frick away.
February 1880. A frozen dirt concession road north of London, Ontario. The Roman Line. Named because nearly every farm on it belongs to Irish Roman Catholic families. Frozen wagon ruts, split rail fences, wood smoke over snowy fields, coal, oil lamps in farmhouse windows. But this road has seen barn fires, mutilated horses, beatings, and now whispered meetings in a schoolhouse where neighbours are deciding whether one family deserves to live. For nearly 40 years, one family's name has been a cursed word on this road, and tonight, in a farmhouse at the heart of the Roman Line, an old man, his wife, his son, and his young niece are going to sleep for the last time.
And some people around Lucan will tell you they never really left.
That was my magic strike. Go.
Welcome to Tea Tales and Talks, where we drink some tea, cover a few mystical tales, and talk about a lot of spooky stuff. I'm Sarah. I'll be your co-host this episode.
And I'm Mackenzie. I'll be your host.
All we ask is that you pour yourself a cup and don't let your tea get cold.
In this episode, we're taking a walk through one of the most infamous Canadian crime cases, the legend of the Black Donnellys. So grab a little cup of crime and let's dive into this mind-boggling case.
Yeah, just keep it loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey. Okay, Sarah, what's sipping?
Okay, today it's a little bit fitting for the episode because, okay, so I made chai for us, as per usual, that's my fave, but this one is s'mores chai, s'mores flavored chai.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Campfire-esque,
fireplace, fire-esque,
we've been living in a world of smoke.
We have been, oh my, yeah, there's been a lot of, Ontario is on fire.
She burning.
And it's really devastating, and also a lot of Americans, our American neighbors, are complaining about it, and allegedly Trump wants Canada to like pay a tariff because of the smoke, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we're drinking some yummy s'mores chai, which is fitting also for the episode. That's just a little Easter egg, okay?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's it.
Beautiful. My transition line. Okay. Cups are full. Mine actually is half full because I've been trying really hard not to finish it, but it's really good.
Like yin and yang. Oh, maybe not. Okay, from the other side, it looks like it was...
I actually see it right now.
You know, it looks like the yin and yang sign. Amazing.
Cups are full. They're going to need to be.
The way when you said Sarah, I literally went, what did I do?
The yin and yang. No.
The yin and...
That's fresh off my brain. I am genuinely curious. Did you learn about the Black Donnellys or the Donnelly family in school?
No, I don't think so. Like, to be for real, you know the way my memory is, but I really don't think that we learned about it.
No.
The only reason I know about it is because I like true crime stuff, and my mom also does, and she's like, well, did you know? You should look into this. So I know something happened. I didn't really look into it. I know the general idea of what was going on. I don't know any details. So I'm excited.
Perfect. Well, one of my main resources for this episode, John Little, he's the author, the Donnellys, he has 2 books. There's volume 1 and 2, both resources that I've used. Mention right in the preface that the author was never ever taught about this local family massacre in school, which really shocked me because I vividly remember learning about it and reading one of the other books I've used as a reference in here in school. And it was
what school did you go to? They were teaching you all about true crime.
Yeah, it was grade 6 or something too. We weren't that young Like, we were in the older grades, but we were still obviously kids. But I think it was also because our, like, teacher at the time was interested in this sort of stuff. So then he could share that with us. So this is where my love and fascination for this moment in Canadian history actually kind of began. So I'm very excited to share this with not only our audience, but you, Sarah. Since you don't really, well, you know the overarching, but like to give more detail.
I was going to say the juicy details. That's a little... But I do want to hear the detail.
Also, a shout out to our friends over at Thick Thighs and Creepy Vibes, who have also covered the Donnellys as well. So if you get hooked on this twisted tale, you better go over to their episode and listen. Get comfy. I'm going to tell you a story of some crazy Canadians. No, I'm laughing because I have mine zoomed in really closely too.
See?
I think it's a nerve thing.
It is. When you're stressed, you can't see.
Beautiful. I'm blind. Let's just hop right into it. And I'm going to start off by kind of going over the sources for the story because this will impact really everything that you know about them. Here's the thing, and this is why I want to talk about my research before we even start the story. Depending on which Donnelly book you pick up, and you will read about two completely different families. The same name, same farm, same fire, but two completely different stories. And before you ask me what happened, you have to keep asking yourself, who is telling me?
Okay.
So we're going to walk through the shelf one little thing at a time. So author Thomas P. Kelly wrote The Black Donnellys, and it was written in 1954. This was the book that I read in school.
Okay.
That made me fall in love with it, but I think it's because, well, I'll go into it a little bit more. This is the book that really made them famous, and the reason that we even say Black Donnellys, written kind of like a dime store thriller, sold at gas stations and drugstores all throughout Canada. It went through printing after printing. Kelly's Donnellys are cartoon villains, a family of arsonists and thugs terrorizing an innocent town until the town, quote unquote, had no other choice. And wildly entertaining while exaggerated, Kelly invented a dialogue and invented other incidents that didn't actually happen and invented the famous curse. So this is the version that most people know, and also the version the killers would have probably told as well and kind of perpetuated.
Yeah. I definitely, like, even my mom, well, she's lived here her whole life, and, like, she was born in the 60s, so she refers to them as the Black Donnellys. So that's kind of interesting, probably from this book.
Yeah.
But that's all she knew.
Another source is Orlo Miller's The Donnellys Must Die from 1962. This is the first serious pushback of the, like, kind of story. Miller was a historian and clergyman who asked the obvious question Kelly skipped: why would an entire community murder a family? His answer was the feud was imported from Ireland, an old Catholic faction warfare that was transplanted into Biddulph. A little disclaimer for our non-Canadian friends.
And people who are not, like, local to us.
To Ontario and, yeah.
And, like, this region, yeah.
The area where this story takes place is called Lucan, Ontario. They're just slightly north of us. So they've also referred to Lucan before it was called Biddulph. So
Biddulph County?
Biddulph County. So it'll go back and forth being referred to as Lucan and Biddulph. So just that you guys understand what we're referring to.
My doctor's office is right beside this place.
Yeah. Amazing. I wonder if they have any ghost stories or hauntings to add to this episode. Okay, back into Mr. Miller. His theory was all about it being a feud from Ireland that ended up in Lucan, with the Donnellys marked as the family that wouldn't fall in line. Suddenly, it's not the bad family that gets what's coming. It's more of a sectarian vendetta.
Okay.
All the way from over in Ireland.
It goes all the way to the top. And over across the pond.
Oh, exactly. Hop, skip, and a jump. Then we have another source, author Ray Fazakas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He wrote the Donnelly album in 1977. The detective of the Butch, a lawyer who spent decades knocking on Lucan's door and getting some slammed in his face, collected photographs, documents, and first-hand accounts while the people who remembered the family were still alive.
Okay.
This is where the Donnellys stopped being characters and actually became faces, real people staring out of tintypes. And then a couple other, this is my main source. Author John Little, The Donnellys Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 is the Powder Keg. Sorry guys. Volume 2 is the massacre trial and aftermath. They both cover like a section of time. So this is the newest and most exhaustive research. Thousands of pages built on court records, newspapers, and archives. Little goes myth by myth through the Kelly legend and checks it against the paper trail, and over the monstrous Donnelly crimes are turned out to be unproven and more exaggerated, or things that were actually done to them.
Okay, not just that they have done.
Did. Mm-hmm. His verdict is basically the modern verdict. A rough, brawling human family was destroyed by a community-wide vendetta. Mm-hmm. Rounding it out, we also use the Canadian Encyclopedia, the Great Unsolved Mysteries in Canadian History Project, Western University's archives, and they have documents and all of that we'll be referring to, and the Lucan Area Heritage and Donnelly Museum, because of course the area in which this happened, they have a museum in a little area dedicated to the family and the moment of history, and the museum does a great job of holding the line between legend and record. Mm-hmm. The real question holding over this entire episode, and honestly pushing 145 years of the story, is were the Donnellys villains who were pushed a town too far, or victims of the most successful smear campaign in Canadian history? One goes that the mob got away with murder and got to write the book afterwards.
Interesting.
Keep your tea close, ladies and gents. Because hold on to your cups. Because every single thing I'm about to tell you, I want you to keep asking yourself, who told us this and why?
Well, you know that, I don't know, most famous saying in history is the victors write the history books. Mm-hmm. Obviously, not to give too much away, but it's the ones who survived things in history are the ones who are living to tell the tales. It's also kind of hard when you're coming from like a teeny tiny town in like rural Ontario.
It starts in the 1840s too.
Yeah, it's like how many things were happening and how many things were they actually keeping record of?
And who was keeping record?
A big question in of itself. Okay, tell me more.
Okay, we're going to jump right into it. The powder keg. From the 1840s to the 1880s, Irish immigrants are coming. The Irish are coming! Just kidding.
Oh my god, the Irish are coming!
I don't think anybody ever said that. Anyways, okay. Starting us off, two of our main characters, James and Johanna Donnelly, immigrate from the county Tipperary in Ireland in the 1840s, a region infamous for violent secret society faction feuding among Catholics themselves. So back at home, it was like the Capulets and the Montagues, families constantly feuding, all of these secret things happening.
Catholics and Protestants.
Yeah, pretty much.
They've been fighting. Mm-hmm. And they brought a lot of their stuff over Canada, it seems. And
this kind of ties into Orlo Miller's thesis that this Biddulph feud wasn't born in Canada. It was the settlers that they imported. Their Irish feud came and followed the settlers. The Donnellys had already arrived on the wrong side once they got here. There was already a feud set up. James squats on the Roman line lot in the Biddulph township, clears it, builds on it, and never properly owns it, so litigation eventually splits the farm. James keeps roughly the front 50 acres he's cleared, and the rest goes to Patrick Farrell. Instant and permanent bad blood started as soon as he arrives in the township.
So you said he squats on Roman line, so he was a squatter?
Yeah.
So he didn't own these little bits of land or whatever?
No. He was squatting. So back in Pioneer Biddulph Township, good old rural Ontario, land equals survival and status and pretty much everything. So losing half of the cleared farm to a rival would have been a wound in and of itself. But also, so him clearing it and just kind of squatting on the land gave him the rights to own it and keep it at the time.
Oh.
Because we were still being established.
So it was really just a free-for-all. They were like...
Pretty much.
I'm claiming this...
Wild west of rural Ontario in the 1800s. But instead of cowboys, it was Irishmen.
It was the fiddler on the roof.
Exactly. Wait for it, girl. So then on June 25th, 1857, a whiskey-soaked lodging bee, Farrell, and a drunk James Donnelly had a feud all day. And then it obviously, as they were working, it ultimately exploded. And James Donnelly struck Farrell with a hand spike. This is an iron tip log lever.
Give me a second. Hand spike.
But gruesome, back in the good old day of the 1800s. Proper weapon.
It kind of looks like a bed leg. Like, does that make sense? Like a wooden leg for a chair or something. But it's like skinny and then it gets a little bit fatter on one end.
Mm-hmm. James Strux Farrell, the Farrell from the Clearing of the Land.
Patrick Farrell?
Yeah, so I believe it's the same person.
Okay.
So existing feud. Strikes him. Farrell actually dies of the head wound. James then goes on the run for 2 years. And the legend that he held in plain sight, some people said in like women's clothes. So he would actually he stayed in Lucan, hiding on the farm. And sometimes as people would go by, he would hide in women's clothing. That's what the rumors say. That's how he got away with it for so long, because he was on the run. He was able to fool people by hiding
for 2 years. I don't know how much.
Working his fields while Joanna stonewalled the constables. So he would, because the farm needed tending. I'm not joking, girl.
So he's okay. I just have a couple questions. Okay, so let me get this straight. This couple came from Ireland, and then they were squatting on this guy's property. Yep. And then they basically took over a portion of the property. Yep. And then the husband James killed the owner of the property. Yeah, because they were in a fight. They were feuding at this. Yeah. Yep. And then James and Johanna remained on the property, and James continued to work on the farm for 2 years while simultaneously evading constables, police, whatever they were at that time. Yep. And proceeding to dress in women's clothes and to hide in plain sight. Yep. Okay, so my first question: how was he evading arrest if he was literally at his own farm with his own wife in the town of Lucan, which at the time probably had 3 people, and they were 2 of them? Girl, this is what shown up in multiple books and accounts. They're working at a sawmill or something. Okay. Runs away, but he doesn't run very far. Not very far. But every time the constables would come and say stuff, she'd be like, no, he's not here. I don't know where he is. Who's tending the mill? Who's feeding the cows? She's like, I don't know. So for nearly 2 years, he was doing this. Okay. And then in 1858, so only a year and a little bit later, he surrenders. Okay. He's sentenced to hang. It's then commuted to 7 years in Kingston Penitentiary after Johanna petitions. But Johanna's pretty much like, no, don't kill him. I need him. I have, what is it? 7 boys and a girl. Yeah. So they can't be I can't raise them all on my own. They need a male. So just commute his sentence and then he'll come back. Okay. So that's pretty much what happens. So are we assuming, did they come from Ireland with their kids, or with some of them? They came with, what I remember, 1. The eldest was already born in Ireland, and then they all immigrated to Ontario. And then they started having... Okay, so they were not just squatting. They're we're popping out kids. We're building a farm. We're here. We're here. We're settlers. We're here to stay. We're settling. Oh, we're settled. Yep. While he's still in jail at the Kingston Penitentiary, Johanna raises all the kids, 7 boys and a daughter. From here, the family carries the brand of the killer's family. Okay, so they basically got his reputation put onto them. James is branded as the killer and the murderer, and now, by association, the family of a murderer. Right. So the 7 sons, quick roll call, started with James Jr., shocker, John, Patrick, Michael, Robert, Thomas, and then we have little baby Jenny is the daughter, and she's also the youngest. William, also referred to as Clubfoot Will, hurts my heart a little because my dad had a clubfoot. He was the family's brain. He was very literate, a sharp, and a fiddler. He also could... He was the fiddler on the roof. He could also write letters, and locals whispered that his clubfoot was the mark of the devil. Right. Because in the 1800s... Obviously, if you're ever so slightly different... Anything that was different, especially if you were an immigrant, that was the devil's work. Yes, girl. We've seen it time and time again. History obviously repeats itself. Here it is again. And then we have Tom,
who was the youngest, was also known as like the enforcer of the family.
Interesting that he's the youngest in the enforcer.
So he was the enforcer, big, tough, loyal to a fault, brawler. But per Little and Fazakas, he was also a hardworking farmer, and they had plenty of friends. Not universally hated. That's Kelly's flattening the record. So he just flat out goes and says that the family was hated by everybody.
But that wasn't true.
No, it's not true. There's accounts of them having friends and people liking them. Now we're entering the mid 1870s, and we have started the stagecoach wars.
Okay.
So as Will and John, second oldest, third oldest, are aging up and starting to become adults, they decide that they're going to run and start the Donnelly stage line, transporting people from Lucan to London. There was already an existing stagecoach line. They decided they would open one in competition. The fair wars obviously turned dirty. There were cut harnesses, sawed axles, burned stage barns, maimed horses, and the sabotage went in both directions. It wasn't one just doing it to the other. Right. It went both ways. But every incident ultimately got pinned on the Donnellys. And so when I say like cut harnesses and like the spokes were sawed, like once you see it, it'll make more sense.
Okay, like horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it makes sense that they would blame it on these like random immigrants in a tiny place outside of London, right? Like you can't compete
nope.
with the London boys.
And township wide there were like midnight barn burnings. Specifically there were horses with tongues cut out. That's a specific somebody's like when they were going around and interviewing, that was one specific detail somebody remembered. They cut out the horse's tongue. The Donnellys' own barn burned as well. Will was also shot at, and the legend erases most of that half. Like, most of Kelly's doesn't really include that, per se.
Okay. They're keeping out details that would be a little bit more in favor of the Donnellys. Or maybe that's like the barn or something. I don't know. We have to go. Let's just go. I'll make a doctor's appointment. Also, we can do a couple things in one
We'll hit
day.
everything off.
Yeah, there's a bookstore on the way there.
Oh my gosh, perfect. Cemetery too. We'll just hit it all.
Yeah, bookstore, cemetery,
Doctors.
haunted farm,
Haunted
doctor's
homestead.
appointment. I gotta get some blood work done too.
Hey, there we go. Might as well check all the boxes, Sarah.
Okay, so they were cutting the tongues out of horses. They were maiming horses. They were
burning barns.
All to stop the Donnellys from even having a stagecoach service.
Yeah, because they were in competition. There just needed to be one. But it's also like mob mentality was such a big factor, and like the way things were sorted out was through violence and through like brutal attacks and mutilation.
Maybe leave the horses out of it.
Which is crazy and exactly very twisted. While this stuff was going on, there were endless charges and very few convictions. So, like, there was law enforcement involved. Just little was actually still happening. Now I want to talk to you guys about the priest and the vigilantes. So this is in 1879. So we had a new parish priest named Father John Connolly. He forms a property protective association. This curdles into the Biddulph Peace Society, meeting at the Cedar Swamp Schoolhouse.
Vigilance committee?
Yeah, a vigilance committee with one target. They're pretty much a mob just regularly meeting, and they've just named themselves as a peace society, but they are a group of neighbors and community members.
So that property protective association means like literally protecting your own property.
And so it was a group of community members that had formed this association or society pretty much against the Donnellys. They had sworn oaths, and they were warrantless searches of the Donnelly farm, so they would just go in and search the farm.
Okay.
The family effectively were denounced from the pulpit and frozen out from their own parish, so they were pretty much like cast out of the church and everything.
Okay, and this was a church that they were a part of?
Yeah. The Donnellys became member of St. Patrick's, the first church erected in 1850, and was replaced with the larger church.
Okay, so they were members of this church, and the other church members were meeting behind their backs to be like, these people are a problem.
They gotta go. Find anything to make them guilty.
And kick them out of the church as well.
Exactly. And then ultimately, James Carroll, a local Donnelly hating member, of the community, gets appointed as the constable.
Okay, interesting.
So now law enforcement is on the side of hating Donnellys. Ultimately, the vendetta now has a badge, and an unsolved barn fire is blamed on the family with zero evidence, and Carol uses it to summon old James and Johanna to court on February 4th, 1880.
Okay, so there was a fire, and they just said,
It was
must have
them.
been them, yeah.
No evidence, no nothing.
Got it.
It was them. By winter of 1880, the family was completely isolated, surveilled, so they were watched constantly, criminalized, and excommunicated in all but name. Little's title says it was a powder keg. All that was needed was the match. So it was just constantly building and building and building. Now we just need one little thing to set it off.
Spark.
This part I'm really excited for. Respectfully, I love Ontario architecture. I think it has had very interesting evolution. I like early Ontario architecture where it was more like decorative, like you see the old like government buildings that had a lot more attention to detail.
Yeah.
I then find it interesting to then look at the residential side of things and see how normal people living in everyday actually like lived and worked the land and everything like that. Before I take you to the night itself, the event, Sarah, we can't do a local story without talking about the house, so we're going to walk our audience through the property. The Roman line landscape first. It's a long, narrow, 100-acre concession that has lots lined up against the row, pretty much like piano keys, so your neighbors are close. Every farmhouse can see the next one's lights, so you're pretty, like, close together, but they're, like, long, skinny lots.
Long and skinny lots, got it.
Yeah. Remember that when the mob rides up. There was no privacy on the road, no anonymity either. Like, you could see everything that was happening.
Who's coming and going, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a small community. You already know everybody.
Yeah, there's 3 people.
So there are split rail cedar fences, orchards, long outbuildings, the bush along the back of every farm. So you know that, like, typical Canadian forest and stuff that you see in all of that. Utterly ordinary, postcard, pretty pioneer Ontario, which is what makes it pretty bad, what we're about to talk about.
Okay. The evolution of the pioneer Ontario farmhouse. Okay, so the first wave basically began with the log shanty, if you will, and this was typically one room with a dirt or plank floor, and everything would happen around the hearth of the home, so like the fireplace. This is what James and Johanna started in as squatters. It's basically just like a long shack.
Yep. It's a one room centered around fire.
The first kind of step up from this then turned into a 1.5-story farmhouse. This is kind of a classic Ontario form. Now, why half a story, not a full 2 stories? Because of cost and practicality. It was obviously cheaper to build this way. It was cheaper to heat. Having a steep roof also helped to shed snow, I guess.
Yeah, like the snow couldn't stay on the roof, so it would just constantly like fall off. So there was no heat loss from this, the snow helps keep it in, but there was no like cold sitting on it or drip leaking.
Yeah, leaking. And then the half story, it was kind of like a loft, right?
Yep.
So usually the kids would be in the upper part of the home. Usually these structures were whitewashed or clapboard, which is basically like wooden paneling. There was now a wood stove replacing the open hearth.
We've leveled up.
A summer kitchen tacked onto the back, so cooking heat stays out of the house in the summer months, like July, August, when it's really hot. Keep the hot in the heat.
Exactly.
Overall, interiors for these farmhouses, because space was so limited, you literally could not waste a single square inch. Okay, everything had to be multi-purposed, kind of like a tiny home, right?
Yeah.
You see, everything has to have more than one function. So rope-strung bed frames, straw tick mattresses, coal oil lamps, and a good stove as the single most valuable object in the home. Obviously, the stove keeps you warm, it cooks your food.
It's everything.
It's everything. And then the parlor was kept for best, even in a modest home. Okay, like kept the
nicest, the
cleanest. Okay, I got it.
I'm going to walk you through specifically the Donnelly house. So Sarah started walking us through like the initial layout, but I'll walk you guys through the floor plan. So by the 1880, a modest 1.5-story farm home, It wasn't the grand villain lair that the legend implies it to be, like when you think of what Kelly has envisioned as the Donnelly family. Accounts and reconstructions, the museum specifically in Lucan has visual representations, why we gotta go, and gives us the layout that matters. So the kitchen was the working heart of the house. Stove going on a February night. This is the door Constable Carroll walks through. So this is going to be kind of important as we get into it. Tom's sleeping space is off that kitchen, which is why he's the first one Carroll reaches in handcuffs on the night. We're going to go into this a little bit more detail. Then we have James Sr.'s bedroom. This is where old James sleeps and where Johnny O'Connor is sharing the room for the night. The bed in this room with a clothes basket beside it becomes the most important piece of furniture in Canadian true crime. The gap under the bed frame is the only reason that there's an eyewitness in this entire story. The stairs to the half story is where Bridget flees during the night when the mob eventually pours in. In the story-and-a-half house, the upstairs is a dead end. There's low ceiling, small windows, one staircase. The architecture is ultimately a trap. And I want you to hold this floor plan in your head. The kitchen, the room off of it, the bedroom with the basket, the stairs. Because in a few moments, everything happens in exactly those 4 spaces. In about 10 minutes, all in the dark. What stands there today, like I may have accidentally mentioned before, the original house burned to its cellar that night, but the barn from the Donnelly era survived, and it's a big part of why the property became a paranormal hotspot. We'll get into that a little bit further into the episode. And then around 1906, Bob Donnelly built a handsome new farmhouse on the homestead. That was probably the picture you found. They used to do tours. When I was reading John Little's book, which is the most recent one, they said they stopped doing tours. And I think, like, as of now, in 2026, they don't do them. Now it's more so, like, just kind of a monument standing there on the footprint of the tragedy with the original barn watching from across the yard. Now I'm going to tell you about the night.
The night in question.
The specific night. The night of all nights in Canadian history.
It's the night of all nights. It's the night of our nightmares. It's the night of our dreams. It's too late to back out of it. Hey! Okay.
That also popped into my head as soon as I said it's the night
It's
of
the
all
night of all nights.
This is the bloody night.
Oh.
February 4th, 1880. Okay, the night of February 3rd, because I then say that. So it's the morning of February 4th, but the evening of the 3rd.
Okay, so leading up to February the 4th.
Exactly.
Got it.
The family goes to bed on the 3rd. The mob comes in after midnight. So the murders happen in the early hours of the 4th. So that's the date on record. Okay. But people, it's back and forth. So in the farmhouse, James Sr., Johanna, son Tom, and their 21-year-old niece Bridget, who's only in Canada for a couple months. She was visiting from Ireland. And the neighbor boy, Johnny O'Connor, who was staying over to do chores while Jane was in court the next morning. Those are who was all in the house. Down the road, the men at the schoolhouse are Peace Society, as I now will ironically call them, pass around the whiskey and list of names. So they're getting ready. After midnight, now officially the 4th of February, a mob commonly estimated to about 30 to 40 men.
Whoa.
Many Peace Society members, many drunk, move up the Roman line. And as we mentioned before, all the houses are close together, so you can pretty much see. Blackened faces, clubs, spades, pitchforks, and guns, all in hand.
Blackened faces, like they're trying to...
I think they're trying
disguise
to camouflage themselves and not, like, be identified.
When you have, like, 50 people in one town and 40 of you are there, like, I think we're gonna know who done it. You guys have been meeting
for weeks, too.
I think we're gonna know.
Our Constable Carroll's badge was ultimately the key. He was the first one to enter. He wakes Tom and handcuffs him, claiming a fresh arrest. So he claims, "I'm here to arrest you."
Okay.
Tom is half asleep and doesn't resist. This is the signal for the mob. So once Tom is arrested, and pretty much I didn't really mention, but as we went through the list of individuals in the home, Tom is pretty much the biggest threat to the mob as well.
And Tom is the youngest?
Of the
the enforcer.
And the enforcer, exactly.
Okay. Do we know how old he is at this point?
Yeah, I don't have their ages in here.
I'm just wondering because if he's like 18 years old, you need a whole entire town to like get this guy.
No, I think he's like older. Like, I think he's, like,
this
20
is what
or something.
What I mean. Like, well, like, is he, like...
Sorry, I actually said it, and then I realized. I meant, like, older, late 20s. Like, not, like, 2 years older.
He's actually 19 and a half.
Sarah, relax. He's 18 in 6 months.
Okay. Motherfucker. Just tell me how old they were.
See, and this is also it's kind of hard to pinpoint some of this because there's so many different, like the one witness, we don't know, there's a few different cases of how old they are.
Okay, this says that he was 25.
Mid-20s.
Okay.
We'll go with that. 25-year-old Tom has now been shackled, and that's the signal for the mob to ultimately pour in. And it's candlelit chaos. James Sr. is beaten down with clubs and spades. Johanna, his wife, is then beaten to death.
Oh, God.
Tom, handcuffed, makes a break for the door, and ultimately makes it outside, and then is dragged back inside and finished by the mob. Folklore, Kelly cranks it to 11 and says that his body took the worst of the mob's rage, out of everybody.
They focused on Tom.
Yeah. Bridget, the niece, actually tries to flee upstairs, but like we mentioned before, it's the house itself is a trap. There's no way to escape.
There's nowhere to go. Yeah.
And the mob follows. She ultimately dies with the rest of them. The lone witness is Johnny O'Connor, the boy who is there to help with chores for the next day. He's about 12 or 13. It goes back and forth. He dives under that small bed, pressed behind a laundry basket, watches through the slats the entire event and massacre.
Everything.
Small distinguishing note here, depending on which source you read, Johnny's age is given anywhere from 11 to 14. The records themselves aren't consistent, which honestly tells you something about the record keeping in 1880 Biddulph. But whatever number you land on, 11, 12, 13, 14, the point stands, he was a child.
Yeah, he was the youngest in the house. Also, imagining like a little boy, like not just being present but witnessing everything, and also a good point is he lives there too, so he knows the people, he can recognize the people, and then he stays as silent as he can, obviously to not alert them that he's there, right, as they splash coal oil and set the house burning around him. Thankfully, he escapes the flames and he runs through the snow. Remember, this is February, right?
Yeah,
and
so we're in the thick of winter.
February in Ontario,
winter.
You got like 3 feet of snow outside. Mm-hmm. So picture this, little Johnny, running through the snow to the neighbor's house. Granted, it's not that far considering the lots are pretty close together, but he escaped and he went to a neighbor's house, and basically his survival is the only reason that we know who did it, how they did it, what actually went down. I can only imagine if he hadn't survived, like what would have been said about this night. That's really crazy.
And the mob didn't stop there. Once they were done with the house itself, they then went to their second target, which was Whalen's Corners, which is, I don't know if you know where Whalen Corners is. It's like not too far away. Like if you have Lucan over here, London's here, like Whalen Corners is like right here. You kind of go through it. Yeah, it's another little like area. The mob then rides to William Donnelly's house, who lives there a few kilometers away, and starts pounding on the door, shouting "Fire, fire!" to like lure him out.
Oh.
However, his brother John's staying over and answers the door, likely in Will's overcoat. Like, just, he grabs his jacket to open the doors to see what's going on. And then the mob shoots him, and he's dead on the doorstep, and ultimately killed instead of William.
Okay, so they thought that it was William.
Yeah, they were going to kill William Donnelly, and they got his brother, John Donnelly.
First person who opens the door.
Exactly. Will, the man that they came for, survives, and by the accent of who reached the door first, he recognized the voices outside and ultimately will spend the rest of his life naming them.
Wow. So Will's not the oldest, is he? Is he the second oldest? And he's
James, Will, John, Patrick. Yeah.
So Will is Clubfoot Will.
Yeah.
Right. And he's big brain. So they went after big brain Will. Unfortunately, they didn't get him.
No, they got the other one.
Wrong guy.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly who did it. I just can't even, like, that he heard the voices and he's like, Susan, I know that's you. Like,
Charles? Yeah. So by dawn, exactly 5 of them were dead. James, Sr., Johanna, Tom, Bridget, and John.
And John.
The farmhouse is a smoking cellar hole. it's gone. It's been burned down. And the story tears through the province and is the international press. And it's now one of the most infamous crimes in Canada.
That's insane.
It's like...
Like, you just, like, killed an entire family.
And it wasn't just, like, one. It was 30 to 40 people that all took part in this.
Like I said before, I knew a little bit about the story, but not the details. I knew that a group of people killed members of the family. I didn't know that it was, like, upwards of 40 people. That's, like, insane.
It was a full mob.
Like, absolutely insane.
In this little Ontario town. Yeah. Now, I'm going to take you through the aftermath of this. And the silence and the trials. So, everybody in the town knew about this. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew what happened. Everyone knew who did it. Mm-hmm. But nobody talked. Peace Society membership was an open secret. And then Biddulph closed the ranks overnight. So, 6 men were charged, ultimately, in the crime. James Carroll being the first, alongside prominent committee names, including John Kennedy, who was William's own brother-in-law. William had married Nora Kennedy over her family's objections. That feud ran through his marriage. There's so much, there are so many little things that we could go into. But to keep this in one episode, I had to kind of summarize the big parts. So that was another one of the person who was charged, his own brother-in-law. Trial 1 happened in the fall of the 1880. Carroll was tried for Johanna's murder. The star witness was Johnny O'Connor and William. A child and a notorious survivor versus the pillars of the community, ultimately was what the trial looked like. The defense hammers Johnny's age, character witnesses parade for the accused. So they really tried to undermine what Johnny could have seen for his age. And then since these members who committed the crimes were such influential people in the community, they then had a parade of people speaking to their character and being like, they're wonderful.
Yeah,
blah,
because
blah, blah.
why would you believe a child over, like, a constable who everybody in the community said, oh my god, he goes to church and he's in law enforcement
and the constable,
he's so nice.
And so ultimately there's also witness intimidation. During this period, Johnny O'Connor's family home is burned down. The message to every potential witness could not be clearer. You do not mess. Do not come
Don't say anything
against this Peace Society. The result was a hung jury.
Okay.
Trial 2 was in the early 1881. Carroll was acquitted outright. Just flat out acquitted. The courtroom reportedly cheered. Charges against the others ultimately collapsed. And no one is ever convicted of the 5 murders, even with a living eyewitness.
Okay. That I also didn't know. So, even with a literal eyewitness, not just one, right? Because it wasn't just little Johnny under the bed who eyeballs witnessed what was going on, but also William, who was like, I heard Susan outside, like, I know
Susie Q fucking
I know who did it. And still they're like, yeah, but did they really do
no
it
proof.
though?
There's just no proof. So, Great Unsolved Mysteries in Canadian History framed it perfectly. Not a whodunit, but a why did justice fail?
Yeah.
Jury sympathy, a community of solidarity, fear, and decades of rumor that the victims ultimately had it coming. There was a long silence. For generations, Lucan simply did not speak of it. Nobody talked about it. Also why I don't think many people learned about it in school. Because Ontario and Canada loves to not talk about the horrible things that have happened or that we've done. We just scoot it under a rug and move on. Researchers into the mid-1900s, Miller than Fazakas, door knocking for the Donnelly album, met slammed doors and warnings. So most people would like tell them not to research. You don't want to don't ask about this. Like, nope, we're not telling you.
That like kind of gives me chills a little bit. Like thinking about the two authors, like literally actually in real life, like knocking on doors, looking for records, trying to talk to people who by this point are probably family members of those involved. Like maybe they were there themselves. Like maybe it was their dad that was like, you know, and to have so many people just no, we're not talking about it.
Slamming doors, literally. Yep.
That's insane.
And we've mentioned it in a couple other episodes, or one other episode of like people stealing things from crime scenes. This happened at this crime scene. Like people took like the skulls of these individuals before they burned the house down, and took like things from the house and the prop, and then burned and set it ablaze.
Like, again, what possesses you to do that? Because, like, at the moment, somebody probably has one of their skull fragments in their basement somewhere.
Exactly.
It's a distant family member of the people who killed them.
Yep.
And for why?
So, remember how we said that the church that they were at, St. Patrick's, ultimately, like, shunned them and kicked them out? They have tombstones there. Like, they ultimately get buried in the church's, like, cemetery. Mm-hmm. Their tombstone, their family marker at St. Patrick's, originally listed all 5 of the names. Mm-hmm. And then each word, murdered. So then it drew gawkers chipping away at the tombstone names.
Oh, my God. As a souvenir?
As souvenirs for people. Like, so people would come and visit and see the Donnelly tombstone, and it would say, murdered. James Sr. murdered, Johanna murdered, like... And they would chip and destroy and disface the tombstone, so that they removed it in the 60s, like 1960s. Okay. And it was replaced with one that just said, died.
So that's insane. Mm-hmm. Again, why would you want to do that? Why do you want the piece of a piece of a tombstone? Yeah. What is the fascination, like, in the 1800s specifically, with, like,
girl, it wasn't morbid even then. Thing? It was up until, like, the 50s. Like, the 60s they removed it because it was still happening.
Bro, what the fuck? Like...
It's crazy. And then William, so the one that survived and was supposed to be murdered that night, then faces a long bout of trying to pursue the killers through court, and then also newspapers for years, naming names publicly until his death in the 1890s. He also goes to, like, London Insane Asylum. Oh. And deals with a lot of mental health issues as a result from this entire, like, massacre and all of the things that transpired. And then had, like, perpetual feelings that people were coming for him and gonna kill him. And...
Well, because evidently they were. Yeah. Like, he was the target. Unfortunately, they got his brother instead. Yep. Oh my God.
So not only did it, like, that massacre take those lives that night, but it ultimately then continued to take lives from there. And even, like, imagine Johnny O'Connor going through the fear of, like, living through it and witnessing it, having that mental, and then coming forward and then having the town also turn against you.
Yeah, and being basically scared into submission and silence. Mm-hmm. Were you silent or were you silenced?
Bum, bum, bum. And now talk about the hauntings and the curse and the spooky bit.
Okay, spooky.
Spooky. So, one of the spooky haunting reported places, obviously, is the homestead itself. The farm itself stayed in the family hands for a decade. Bob Donnelly rebuilt it on site, and then later owners went public about what it was like living there. There were years of reports from owners, tour guests, and investigators with poltergeist-style activity. Items that were relocated overnight, doors that would unlatch, heavy breathing in empty rooms, cold spots in the barn, apparitions of heavy-set older men, and a woman in dark clothing.
Interesting.
A sense of somebody following visitors up the lane.
Ooh!
And then the property used to run ghost tours for years. And one owner wrote an entire book about sharing the farm with former residents. The Lucan Area Heritage and Donnelly Museum in town holds artifacts from the fire. The museum keeps a history-first tone, but a visitor story, find it anyway. So the Roman line, the road itself, which the property sits on.
But this is like the Roman line. There's like one road in Lucan that just goes straight through. It's that road?
Yeah, it's the main one.
Like the main road?
The Roman line, yeah. That's what it central, yeah, main.
That's crazy.
Main drag.
And I'm trying to picture it now, having been in Lucan. It's like a typical,
so it's like
small town, but
that one's it, like the main strip of Lucan where all like the big buildings are. That's not the one. It like jeers off and it's like a farm road.
Because where the barn, like where the actual barn is, it's on the main road. So did they move it? It's in here.
No, just the museum is over here. I guess we're just gonna have to go visit and we'll give first-hand accounts.
That's weird. But the new, like the replacement house is still there on the actual...
The one that the Bob Donnelly rebuilt, I believe so. And they used to give tours and now they don't. But like also like if you like you're buying a piece of history.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like agree with people who buy like historic
and then you
property.
Keep it to yourself. Like,
even
I don't
with
know.
Now there's a big thing, I guess, with the Conjuring house, like the change of ownership and stuff, and people are kind of questioning what's going to happen now. It's like closed right now, so you can't go visit or tour.
Yeah, you told me about that.
It was a little while ago. But like, if you're buying a property, knowing the history that comes with it, and knowing that it is a tourist place, like people are visiting, I don't see. Like, you knew what you were getting yourself into. Like, why are you buying, like, especially something that's, like, low-key haunted? Why are you just doing that for fun?
Like, it's...
You need, like a 100-year-old home that's haunted?
No other one will do? Okay. So, we'll go visit. We'll bring first-hand accounts about the museum and what it's like there.
And we'll take pictures, maybe.
Yeah. That would be perfect. The Roman line itself had, like, reported... ghosts.
Yeah.
There's one, it's the horse legend. It's a classic. For decades after 1880, locals would swear that horses would refuse to pass the Donnelly property line.
Wow.
Balking, rearing, bolting, and especially at night, they wouldn't pass it. They would, like a force field, stop. Teamsters detoured a whole concession around it. So they would go around the thing.
The property
because the horses wouldn't
stop. Go past. Mm-hmm. So, like, obviously the horses don't know what the hell happened there, but...
They're seeing something. They're feeling... My goodness,
because animals sense...
energy.
Sense things.
So there's also something called the February 4th phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So glowing orbs and lights in the field of where the house burned were reported. Also phantom hoofbeats of many riders heading up north up the line after midnight, possibly the mob rewriting its route. There have been modern reports of phones and dash cams dying near the site. Figures in period clothing alongside the road that vanish within headlights.
Oh, wow.
There's also the Lucan curse. Something about the, like, vigilante's fates. Kelly's signature contribution will flag it as lore forward. Little and Fazekas are skeptical of this.
Of Kelly's kind of...
Yeah, signature contribution. The mom members allegedly died all in strange and ugly early deaths.
Okay.
There's been a catalog of legend. Men kicked to death by their own horses. Sudden madness, deathbed ravings. Dying men allegedly screaming the Donnellys were at the foot of the bed, waiting. There were freak farm accidents, fires, drownings, lightning strikes. Misfortune tracking the Peace Society membership list for decades. While Will Donnelly lived long enough to watch. So he saw the men who killed his family also kind of go mad and die coincidentally as well.
I will say that also in the 1800s, low-key people were not living that long.
They weren't living the best. There was sepsis.
There was a lot more freak accidents happening.
Shit happening. Yeah, 19th century farming killed people horribly all the time. A determined storyteller can build a curse from any parish death registry, but even skeptics admit the community believed it ultimately. Okay. And that the belief is a documented historical fact that helped keep the silence sealed, and the fear of the law faded and the fear of the dead didn't.
Okay, so they were not just scared about like, oh, we're like kind of maybe connected to this case, but like even if we speak about it, you're gonna get haunted.
Shit's gonna happen to you.
Or you're gonna die a mysterious death.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that struck me as interesting is people claiming to see the Donnellys like at the foot of their bed, or like that they're around them, they're out to get them, whatever. It reminds me of the Telltale Heart.
Mm-hmm.
When you do something really bad and you know that it's really bad, and it's kind of like, it's not really, maybe it's not really the ghosts haunting them, but it's like the guilty conscience haunting you, and you kind of can't get rid of that, right?
I love that because that ties perfectly into what I have next as our final reflections. So what I get from this really is that the real horror story isn't that it wasn't just the like black sheep of the community. What an ordinary community can talk itself into and turn itself into.
Yeah.
And how completely justice can fail with everybody watching. Yeah. And they just turn their eye like back to it. The Donnellys were rough. I cannot deny that based on family accounts. They were gruff. They were hardworking. They were also
pretty criminal.
They did some things.
Of their things, yeah.
But they were also human.
Yeah.
They were massacred and nobody paid.
No one paid for that. Yeah.
To answer the opening question, if they were villains or victims, Kelly's story, Kelly, the author, sold them as villains. The archives hand us victims of a vendetta.
Yeah.
Complicated, brawling,
litigious
victims, but victims nonetheless.
Yeah. Are they still searching for justice from their grave? There were no convictions. There was no blame.
Yeah.
It kind of just, everyone was like, well, a bunch of people died.
They just died. No, they were murdered. They were massacred. A full community massacre.
Even their tombstone, like their final resting place, does not even give them the justice of like, no, it wasn't just something that happened to them. This was done to them. Mm-hmm. That was taken away. And yeah, over a century of silence from the whole community, surrounding communities. Like, we don't know about the story. Even as locals, we don't know.
No.
Basically, if any ghosts in Ontario have unfinished business, I would reckon it would be these 5 people.
These 5 have some stirring up to do.
Yes.
Still. One of the questions that popped into the script as I was editing was this question. Would you spend the night of February the 3rd at the homestead?
Yes.
Like as a little fly in the wall, or just to see what actually
Oh, I thought you meant like now. Like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, both.
Okay, good question.
Okay, both.
Back then, would I...
Yeah, would you have... Yeah.
Like to just, like, see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
That would be so hard because, like, if you were there to... Like, okay, let's just say you're, like, beside little Johnny. You're under...
Yeah,
you're under the other
Johnny.
bed. You're, like... I don't know, you're on the roof. I don't know.
Somewhere.
Whatever. You're somewhere and you're watching what's happening. But, like, it doesn't matter because no matter what you say that you saw, the town is going to be like, no, you didn't. That didn't happen. How can you prove that? Like, no one believes you. And also, we're going to burn your family's farm down, too.
We'll come for you as well.
Yeah. So, maybe potentially I wouldn't want to see that. But I would stay in the like,
house now.
Replaced house now, like, on the night of, like, just to see, like, what... Because that's also, like, we could say it 1,000 times, a million times, that, like, energy stays in one place, especially after traumatic events, but especially in, like, a situation like this, that it just happened like this and everybody was dead, and it was like, but, like, just to see if, like, when people are taken away so quickly and in such like
sudden, unexpected,
dramatic,
yeah,
like, intense way, their spirits could still to this day be like, well, hold on, what just happened?
Whoa there, what do you mean?
Yeah, so I would be interested to stay the night to be like, oh, is anything like
what's stirring?
Yeah, like replaying the night energetically, like what's going like, is something happening, you know?
Feel that I get those freaking spectrometers set up.
But that would be kind of creepy if you were staying in the house and then you can hear horses like from the distance coming up the road.
What a sound to hear too. Like, we don't hear that.
No, but you know, but you would know yeah,
instantly be like,
holy,
that's
crap.
Those are hoofs.
Also, just like the feeling of the one account that you said of feeling like you're being followed, like going up the property. Yeah, like even the one son, William, his whole entire life was like feeling like people were after him his whole life. So it's that constant, like, the feeling of being chased, the feeling of being like everybody's out to get you.
John Little's book, the first one, starts off with accounts from like the doctors that were assessing John or William Donnelly at the insane asylum.
Oh wow.
And it's like some of them knew him before, and he was like, he was friendly, he was nice, and now he's like depressed and doesn't eat and doesn't have interest in things, has threatened his wife and nephew, changed into a completely different person because he was so scared.
Who wouldn't? If your whole family got killed and your brother by accident because someone was trying to kill you, like, yeah, it's all very crazy, and for sure there's something still there.
Okay. Well, to sign off, I want everybody here listening to go and visit and support the Lucan Area Heritage and Donnelly Museum. So Sarah and I will also be going and doing that.
I think we're the only ones. Like, nobody else who's listening is local.
It's okay.
It's fine.
You guys can also, if you just
meet and
Google...
greet at the Lucan Heritage Museum.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
Meet and greet, and it's one person is gonna come.
Okay, no, but still to do like meet and greets at like haunted places.
Yeah,
that would be really fun. We'll share with you guys. Yes. Don't worry. Anyways, you can go on their website and go onto the Canadian Encyclopedia and to learn more about the Donnellys. There's also a reading list in the show notes for some of the references that, or like resources I use specifically, and that also started my love for the criminal case. It includes John Little's The Donnellys Volume 1 and 2, Fuzzacast, The Donnellys Album, Miller's The Donnellys Must Die, and Kelly's The Black Donnellys, strictly as read the legend and then read the truth. Okay. Also, we have Thick Thighs Creepy Vibes episode in there for you guys to also go and listen to and support our friends.
Yeah. And if you have any of your own spooky, witchy, or paranormal stories, we want to hear them.
Please!
You can send your stories to ttalestalks@gmail.com or send them to us through our spooky stories submissions form that's in our link tree.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and share it with a fellow twitchy witchy. You can find us on Instagram at ttalestalks to keep up to date with what we're doing and whenever a new episode drops.
Until we meet again, our twitchy witchy friends, stay spooky and
don't let your tea get cold. And if you're driving the Roman line tonight, maybe don't stop the car.
Woo!
Boo, doo, doo, doo.